It's difficult.
Abortion, Part 2. 2011 was a big year for me. I had finished my teaching boot camp in the Bronx. I took a position to teach English to the class of 2014, and I had an abortion. But that's not the beginning of the story. 2010 was also a big year. I completed my undergraduate thesis, I graduated from college, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I had an abortion. Yeah, one and then another within the span of a year. My first abortion left me only with the shame of the mistake that had led me to it in the first place. I tried to console myself with the fact that I was only 21 and that I had stopped taking birth control regularly because I was in a sexless relationship. After 6 months, my boyfriend at the time finally wanted to have sex, and that surprise overwhelmed my common sense. Subconsciously, I knew that I had skipped a few days. I had always started the month strong, and then the reality that sex wasn't going to happen anyway would make me leave the rest of the package untouched. But that night, nothing sensible mattered. It felt like maybe, just maybe, our relationship was finally progressing physically. And I didn't think I was in that much danger, but I misunderstood the way cycles actually work. Having never been pregnant before, I didn't acknowledge the obvious signs. I was really stressed out, stage managing and working 3 other jobs, so a couple of missed periods went unnoticed. I usually feel nauseous in the morning, especially if I take a multivitamin on an empty stomach. When I got back pain so bad I couldn't sit up comfortably, I blamed it on lifting so many boxes while I was bar backing. But after the 3rd month, I went through 3 positive pregnancy tests and I realized it was time to call my older god sister. We accidentally went to one of those pregnancy assistance centers. While they do offer a legitimate test and an ultrasound, they also make you watch a video with women confessing their depression and horror about abortion and how I'd never be accepted in the eyes of God. While I had just graduated college and my sister and I could almost laugh at the fire and brimstone, it was not helping me with my shame at the time. They even give you a blanket before you leave for the future newborn. I found some humor in giving it to my cat. But I delved into the entire journey, taking as many people as I could in my support system as possible through the process and decision and execution of the procedure. I spoke privately but wildly about it with friends, and even anonymously wrote a story about how funny the clinic was that I went to. They tried to calm women down with aquariums and fish screensavers on every television, making me believe they confused us with cats. I shared my experience with my mentor and then my boss, who gave me a week off to deal with the surgery and recovery. The journey was hard, but it was profound. And then a year later, I was pregnant again. This time the shame was overwhelming. How could I tell anyone about this one? After they had helped me through the process once so recently, how could I ask for help and support again? I didn't even want to tell my boyfriend about it, but realized it would be hard to hide it from him. I felt like I had tarnished the journey of my first abortion, and that it was obvious I had learned nothing. That I was irresponsible and a fuck up and I shouldn't be allowed to have adult privileges anymore. It was more difficult in other ways as well. My first abortion may have been more expensive because it was caught later, but it was surgical. They put me under and I didn't even remember it beyond going into the room and coming out in a wheelchair, groggier than all hungover mornings put together. It took 30 minutes to do the procedure, but 12 hours of sleep, and I mostly felt fine and confident that I'd made the right decision. My second abortion was caught early, so it was cheaper to go chemical. They give you some pills and tell you to go home, take it in a certain order. They warn you it will be difficult and messy, but that it will be over in a day, and beyond some serious cramping, you should be okay after a short while. This is an understatement. The cramping was beyond painful. I threw up twice. I tried to focus on the Mad Men marathon, but I mostly cried wondering if I'd ever be okay again. I've never bled that much, and I witnessed all of the various tissues leaving my body. I almost wanted to call that pregnancy assistance center to let them know that I'm pretty positive I wasn't going to hell because I visited here on Earth. And I didn't have the courage to tell anyone beyond that boyfriend for 2 years. Our relationship didn't survive the nuclear blast to our intimacy. I questioned my maturity and decision-making every day, depressed that I was not actually ever going to grow up and that I would never learn from my actions. But after a couple of years of therapy, I am more than okay now. I am not ashamed. I am now ashamed of our society where I privately suffered without anyone directly shaming me. I wish I could live in a society where having an abortion is equally as shareable as the topic is getting a tattoo. Not a choice for everyone's body, but something where you would be worried about death threats or damnation from others. I wish I could have told my second job exactly why I was taking off work for a few days, and then a few more when I was emotionally unstable. I wish that women could talk about it with one another without feeling worried that their secret might slip out if they talked about it too much. I'm ashamed of Texas for making a woman's choice more difficult to accomplish. I am mad that this debate has turned into 2 separate sports teams, but the game is how women get to deal with their lives. Fuck that. So yeah, I had an abortion. I had 2. But I have a great job, and I'm buying a house, and I think maybe I will have children someday when I know that I can take care of them. Maybe that day will never come, and that's okay too, because everything is just fine.